The air in the room grew tense as Hei Lang addressed the shopkeeper, his voice cutting through the silence like a blade. Why are you being so cold, Brother Guan? We've shared battles together, haven't we? He gestured toward Han Li and Shi Chuankong, his expression darkening. These two wish to acquire purple sun warm jade from Black Weasel City, and I've brought them to you. The shopkeeper's gaze was sharp, his tone indifferent. A small shop like mine is hardly capable of housing such precious treasures. If you seek purple sun warm jade, seek the larger stores in the city. Hei Lang's lips curled into a cold smile. Do not play the fool, Guan. We risked our lives to secure that batch of purple sun warm jade. Rishi and Rishi even gave theirs. Don't think you can claim all of it as your own. The shopkeeper's face flushed with anger. How dare you accuse me? I believed you three perished. What would I gain from hoarding the jade? But you've broken the vow we swore together, and now you bring outsiders into this. Hei Lang's sneer deepened. The vow? You betrayed us first. Now stop pretending to be the victim. Enough, the shopkeeper snapped, his anger momentarily subsiding. What do you want, Hei Lang? Hei Lang's voice was cold as he continued. You've stayed in Black Weasel City, hiding from the Black Weasel army, and hoping to sell the purple sun warm jade. These two have wealth beyond measure, and they're here to buy. I've negotiated with them, and I'm offering you a deal. Split the devilish origin stones with me, and this business is closed. A jade slip flew from Hei Lang's hand, landing with a soft thud on the table. The shopkeeper studied it, then spoke. I have no objections, but I want a vow. Han Li, calm and composed, urged, What is it? You must swear, by your inner demons, to leave Black Weasel City immediately after the deal and never reveal what happened here, the shopkeeper declared. Han Li's gaze met Shi Chuankong's, and with a nod, they both swore the vow. The shopkeeper's expression softened as he retrieved a purple storage bracelet and placed it on the table. Here, take what you've come for. Han Li placed 2 rings on the table, confirming the deal. The exchange was quick and smooth, but as they rose to leave, the atmosphere shifted. Without warning, a golden sword chi slashed through the air above Hei Lang's head, splitting him in 2. A flash of shock passed through Han Li and Shi Chuankong, and they quickly retreated. The shopkeeper's face drained of color as he began to activate a restriction, but before he could, a second streak of golden light obliterated the room. Black armored figures appeared, surrounding them, all exuding the power of the golden immortal stage. From above, 2 figures descended, a white-robed youth holding a fan, and a blind woman in azure robes wielding a golden longsword. Their auras radiated the power of the high zenith stage, and the shopkeeper's panic was palpable. He immediately summoned a monstrous devil from black flames, its 3 heads and 6 arms striking at the armor-clad figures. The devil's fury was short-lived as the azure-robed woman moved, and a single slash of golden sword chi cut through the black flames. In an instant, the shopkeeper's body was severed, his nascent soul captured by the white-robed youth. The youth's voice was cold, his gaze disdainful. You've been difficult to track down, but no more. Your soul will suffer for your greed. With a flick of his finger, the nascent soul was consumed. The white-robed youth turned to Han Li and Shi Chuankong, eyes narrowing with suspicion. Who are you, and what ties do you have with these two? Han Li, undisturbed, cupped his fists and replied, We are simply customers here. We have no connection to them. We'll be taking our leave. The youth's eyes flashed with anger. Before Han Li could step forward, an armored figure blocked his path. How dare you? Do you know who our master is? Speak to him like that again, and you'll regret it. Another armored figure added, These two must be connected to Guansheng and Hei Lang. We can't let them leave. Tension crackled in the air, but Han Li remained unfazed. His voice was as cold as steel. Step aside. Fool, the armored man sneered. If you surrender, you might be spared. But Han Li's gaze was unyielding, his next words like a verdict. I said, move. A brief moment of silence passed before the white-robed youth nodded lightly to the armored man, his bloodlust and excitement flaring in the latter's eyes. With a swift motion, the man conjured enormous black claws that tore through the air, aimed at Han Li and Shi Chuankong. The claws swept through, tearing apart everything in their path, but in an instant, Han Li and Shi Chuankong vanished, leaving behind nothing but afterimages. Moments later, they reappeared outside the encirclement, unaffected by the assault, and continued their retreat. The crowd was stunned, their faces changing as the azure-robed woman furrowed her brow, murmuring, "Spatial law powers." The armored man, eyes flashing with confusion, transformed, his form growing larger and more monstrous, covered in coarse fur as his aura spiked. He roared and leapt toward Hanli and Shi Chuankong, his fist aimed at their backs. Without a glance, Hanli casually extended his palm to meet the incoming strike. A thunderous crash rang out as bones cracked, and the armored man was sent flying, crashing through a building, his form buried under a storm of dust. The Black Weasel army cultivators gaped in disbelief. Such a feat was beyond the strength of even a high zenith stage demon beast. They now realized that Han Li and Shi Chuankong were masking their true strength and turned to the white-robed youth for direction. After dispatching his attacker, Han Li continued walking leisurely, unbothered, as no one dared to stop him. The white-robed youth seemed lost in thought, but soon a shorter armored man whispered to him. The youth's expression remained impassive as he vanished, only to reappear before Han Li and Shi Chuankong. "Please, wait a moment," he said. Crimson mist swirled around him, forming a dense cloud filled with powerful law fluctuations. Han Li and Shi Chuankong exchanged glances. Shi Chuankong, frowning, replied, "We have no time. We haven't broken any laws, so please stop wasting our time." The youth's expression darkened, his voice colder. "Hand over the purple sun-warm jade you took from Guansheng and Heilang." Shi Chuankong feigned confusion. "What purple sun-warm jade? We were just here to shop, and you interrupted us before we could even buy anything." The youth's expression soured. "Then let me examine your storage tools. If it's not inside, you may leave." Shi Chuankong coldly retorted, "I told you we're in a hurry." The white-robed youth's voice grew more forceful. "You may be powerful, but remember, this is Black Weasel City. Don't make this harder on yourselves." Han Li sneered. "I've always heard that free trade is encouraged here, but it seems that was just a lie." The youth snapped. "How dare you slander my father?" Han Li scoffed. "We've broken no laws, yet you try to rob us in broad daylight." The youth harumphed. "I'm not robbing you. I only want the purple sun-warm jade. If it's not with you, I'll apologize." Crimson mist spread out, surrounding Han Li and Shi Chuankong, but Han Li merely opened his mouth and unleashed a streak of golden light that shot toward the white-robed youth. The youth reacted swiftly, releasing a crimson light to intercept it. But to his surprise, the golden light transformed into 12 miniature golden swords, crackling with lightning. The swords tore through the crimson veil, aiming straight for the youth. "Spare his life, Brother Li." Shi Chuankong called out in haste. The white-robed youth's face paled as the swords pierced through his crimson cloud and ran through his body, leaving 12 bloody holes. He crumpled to the ground, gasping in agony. Han Li ignored the youth as he flicked his finger, releasing a miniature azure sword. In a flash, a golden sword light appeared, colliding with the azure sword in a clash of metal. The two swords vibrated, unable to overpower each other. The azure-robed woman, stunned, watched as Han Li coldly remarked, "Your sword is good, but the wielder is too weak." Before she could act, pain pierced through her mind, and her body stiffened. Han Li swiftly moved, placing a finger on her glabella and releasing a bolt of golden lightning. She screamed in agony as her body charred and fell unconscious, her golden sword dropping to the ground. In a blink, Han Li had subdued 2 high zenith cultivators. The Black Weasel army looked on in shock. Han Li then turned his gaze to the remaining cultivators and with a cold snort, sent arcs of golden lightning hurtling toward them. They were struck with precision, collapsing to the ground, unconscious and charred. Though using his spirit stun thorn technique had drained him, Han Li took a deep breath and glanced back at the white-robed youth, who was now knocked out by another arc of lightning. "That was impressive, fellow Taoist Li," Shi Chuankong remarked with a wry smile. "But it seems we must leave the city now." Han Li smiled faintly. "We've already achieved our objective. There's no reason to stay." As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, Han Li and Shi Chuankong hastened toward the northern city gate, each step quick but measured. The heavy weight of the impending journey hung in the air, though neither dared to break the city's flight prohibition. "Looks like we're in for a rough journey ahead." Hanli remarked, his brow furrowing in silent contemplation. Shi Chuan Kong exhaled deeply. Who could have foreseen the Black Weasel army would cross our path? Still, we were never meant to linger here long, he mused with a resigned sigh. Suddenly, they halted, a chill creeping through their veins, as a figure approached through the sea of bustling citizens ahead. A young scholar, refined and composed, strolled towards them with an air of tranquility. Both men shared a knowing glance and a wry smile. It was the Black Weasel King. The Black Weasel King approached leisurely, his aura masked as if he were naught but an ordinary mortal. His warm smile greeted them, and Shi Chuan Kong, ever the diplomat, bowed respectfully. It is an honor, Senior. Han Li offered a slight bow as well, his expression thoughtful yet reserved. I fear it's not fitting to converse here on the street, the Black Weasel King said, his smile never wavering. Come, let us retreat to my palace. Realizing resistance was futile, Shi Chuan Kong nodded. We will follow your lead, Senior. With a fluid motion, the Black Weasel King raised his hand, and a surge of black light enveloped them. In the blink of an eye, they stood in a vast garden, its beauty breathtaking. Exotic plants, towering rocks, and a bamboo forest filled the space, while the sounds of birds sang through the air. As they ventured deeper, the seasons seemed to unfold before their eyes, spring's lush vibrancy giving way to winter's cold embrace. You've heard of my garden, I presume, Shi Chuan Kong remarked, admiring the scenery. It truly lives up to its reputation, Senior. The Black Weasel King, though modest in word, couldn't hide his pleasure. It pales in comparison to Night Sun City, but I appreciate your praise. The two exchanged light conversation as they arrived at a red building where they were greeted by the Black Weasel King's request for a private audience with Shi Chuan Kong. Han Li was led to the Springwater Palace, while the other two retreated to the Bell Spirit Palace. Inside the Springwater Palace, Han Li was offered tea, a quiet respite amidst the tense atmosphere. Meanwhile, in the Bell Spirit Palace, Shi Chuan Kong remained composed, though his palms were slick with nervous sweat. The palace's interior was adorned with bookshelves laden with mortal literature, and framed calligraphy hung from the walls, the strokes steady yet lacking the flair of true artistry. Your calligraphy is as refined as your taste in literature, Senior, Shi Chuan Kong remarked, trying to quell his unease. The Black Weasel King chuckled. Few can appreciate such works in these lands. It's refreshing to have someone like you here. Shi Chuan Kong, though trying to ease into the conversation, was soon reminded of the conflict with the Black Weasel King's son. The king waved his hand dismissively. A minor incident. I didn't bring you here over something so trivial. Intrigued, Shi Chuan Kong pressed on. Then, what is it you wish to discuss? The Black Weasel King, placing a book on the shelf, leaned forward. The matter of inheritance has stirred turmoil across the Holy Realm, and even our 10 Hazards mountain range will not remain untouched. We must act early. Shi Chuan Kong sighed. I never intended to involve myself in such matters, but it seems chaos follows me wherever I go. The Black Weasel King smiled knowingly. A bright jewel inevitably catches the light, whether you seek it or not. Shi Chuan Kong frowned. What do you mean? The eldest prince, Shi Jianfeng, commands immense power, but the third prince, Shi Pokong, is the one with the most aptitude, the Black Weasel King explained. You're close to him, and everyone knows you'll ally with him. I see, Shi Chuan Kong said, his expression shifting as understanding dawned. You intend to gain my support for my brother, then? Initially, I was going to back the eldest prince, but after seeing you and your servants slay T.U. and Tong-Yu, I changed my mind. The Black Weasel King's smile widened. I saved you from the Golden Rhinoceros King to support the third prince. But now... A silence fell over the room as the Black Weasel King's tone shifted, his next words carrying weight. Now I believe it's best to bet on you. Shi Chuan Kong stared in disbelief, his voice tinged with astonishment. Why? Would you believe me if I said it's a hunch? The Black Weasel King replied with a wry grin. You have immense potential, and with a servant like Han Li by your side, your future seems certain. Shi Chuan Kong nodded, a faint smile on his lips. Your courage is admirable, Senior. The Black Weasel King gestured to continue. Now that I've made my intentions clear, let us discuss matters of substance. Hours passed as time seemed to warp in the palace. Han Li, growing restless, was finally joined by Shi Chuan-kong and the Black Weasel King, the latter smiling broadly. "Our city does not often entertain such esteemed guests," the Black Weasel King said. "Stay a while longer, and I shall arrange for your safe departure from the Ten Hazards mountain range." With a knowing smile, Shi Chuan-kong responded, "We will rely on your care, senior." And so the stage was set for their next move, amidst the shifting tides of power and fate. Han Li, ever cautious, regarded the Black Weasel King with suspicion, but refrained from asking any probing questions. He had initially thought that his own recent breakthrough had caught the attention of the Ten Hazards, but he quickly realized it was Shi Chuan-kong who was truly the focus of their attention. The Black Weasel King's respectful demeanor was likely due to Shi Chuan-kong's esteemed status, though the latter remained tight-lipped, and Han Li did not press him further. With their position clear, Han Li decided to follow Shi Chuan-kong's lead through the treacherous Ten Hazards mountain range, leaving all uncertainties for later. Days passed, and their journey led them along a secret trade route to Preeminent City, nestled north of the perilous mountain range. The city lay amidst a rugged, steep expanse of mountains, where an imposing black stone wall stood, etched with intricate runes. A large plaque proclaiming Preeminent City hung above a massive archway, guarded by imposing sentinels. The passageway was tightly secured, with only a single gate open for entry. As the pair approached the gates, one of the armored guards questioned their passage. Shi Chuan-kong produced 2 jade badges with a swift motion, explaining they were sent on errands for their masters. The guard examined them carefully before granting them entry, after which Shi Chuan-kong handed one of the badges to Han Li, advising him to carry it always within the city. Curious, Han Li inquired about the serene mountain Marcus Manor. Shi Chuan-kong explained that his home realm, unlike the Immortal Realm, was ruled by powerful bloodlines, but true power was measured by strength and influence, not titles alone. Though he lacked an official noble title, Shi Chuan-kong was no stranger to leveraging the vast Origin House's vast resources. Han Li nodded in understanding, but as they passed into the city, the dense devilish qi immediately struck Han Li. It was far more concentrated here than in the surrounding lands, making him uncomfortable. Shi Chuan-kong, ever the reassuring companion, offered a qi-locking pill if needed. They moved deeper into Preeminent City, where the architecture reflected its exotic nature. Black stone buildings adorned with statues of mythical beasts. The streets were sparsely populated near the city's entrance, but as they ventured further inward, life became more vibrant. Han Li asked about their destination, and Shi Chuan-kong replied that they would first visit a branch of the vast Origin House. As they traveled through the bustling streets, Han Li noticed a grand structure surrounded by a lush garden. "Is that the city lord's manor?" he asked. Shi Chuan-kong confirmed it was, and explained that the current lord, the Heavenly Axmarchus, held the title due to the city's strategic importance. As they passed, Han Li marveled at the contrast between this opulent area and the more subdued outskirts of the city. The carriage soon reached the vast Origin House, a 7-story building carved with elegant patterns. To Han Li's surprise, Shi Chuan-kong directed the coachman to pass by without stopping. Han Li, sensing something amiss, inquired why they weren't entering. Shi Chuan-kong hesitated, his face betraying unease, before he promised to explain once they were settled. Han Li, growing impatient with the secrecy, warned that if Shi Chuan-kong was concealing important matters, their alliance would end here. With a resigned sigh, Shi Chuan-kong assured him he would explain in due time, leaving Han Li to ponder the mystery that lay ahead. The carriage rolled through the streets, the silence between the two men thick with unspoken thoughts. As it reached the alley's end, Shi Chuan-kong instructed the coachman to stop, stepping off with a quiet command for Han Li to wait. He ventured to a small, nondescript shop at the alley's end, marked only by a cloth banner reading Traveler House. Moments later, he returned, and the carriage turned eastward, stopping at the secluded Cloud Mountain Inn. The inn, nestled among towering trees, exuded an ancient, weathered charm. After paying the fare, Shi Chuan-kong led Han Li through a creaking wooden door, entering the tranquil courtyard where the air seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly calm. A seductive woman emerged from the inn, greeting them warmly. Shi Chuankong inquired about the courtyards, and the woman informed him that while the Wicker Comb courtyard was occupied, the Serene Lotus courtyard was available. After a brief moment of realization, Shi Chuankong laughed, remembering the Wicker Comb courtyard was always reserved for him, and requested the two vacant ones. They crossed a beautiful covered bridge and walked through the serene bamboo forest until they reached the Green Sorrow courtyard. Hanli used the token to open the courtyard's restrictions, stepping inside. The two settled into a guest hall on the first floor, where Hanli swiftly erected a light barrier, signaling that it was time to speak. After a tense pause, Shi Chuankong began, "I'm not sure where to begin." Hanli cut in, asking about the Golden Rhinoceros King's pursuit. Shi Chuankong confirmed that the king had come after him, not because of his breakthrough, but because his brother, the eldest prince, had ordered it. The inheritance of their holy race was at stake, and Shi Chuankong posed a threat to his brother's claim. "We share the same father, but different mothers," he said bitterly, "and for the first time, I'm seen as a threat." Hanli's brow furrowed. "So your brother aims to eliminate you for the inheritance?" Shi Chuankong's voice darkened. "He likely thinks that I recovered the Virata loot and that my father's actions have placed me in line for the inheritance. It may also be because my father intervened to save me, something he has never done for any of us before. I'm sure the Black Weasel King's aid in our escape also has something to do with this," Hanli remarked. Shi Chuankong confirmed, stating that the Black Weasel King had placed his bets on him. Hanli then raised concerns about returning to Night Sun City and whether Shi Chuankong mistrusted the Heavenly Axe Marquise. Shi Chuankong explained that after his last visit, he had found troubling signs, with his trusted subordinates removed from a branch of the vast Origin House, signaling that Preeminent City was no longer safe. "But why stay here instead of leaving immediately?" Hanli pressed. "My brother had contacted the Black Weasel King to intercept us, but now that the king is aiding me, a false report will keep our whereabouts hidden." Shi Chuankong replied with a sly smile. He had also sent a message to his third brother, who would be sending reinforcements. Hanli asked about the trustworthiness of this third brother, to which Shi Chuankong assured him, "He's the one I saved, and if I can't trust him, then no one in the Holy Realm is trustworthy." After a moment of reflection, Shi Chuankong rose, giving a solemn bow. "I've kept secrets, but I trust you, Brother Lai. I'll honor my promise to help you when we reach Night Sun City." Hanli nodded in response, stressing that their lives were intertwined on this journey and that he would protect him to the fullest. After their conversation, Shi Chuankong left, and Hanli ascended to the second floor of the building. There, he entered a cultivation chamber and, with a wave of his hand, conjured a silver door, stepping into the flower branch domain. Inside the bamboo building, Weeping Soul lay unconscious, surrounded by purple sun, warm jade, her condition slightly improved, but far from healed. Hanli had kept the high-grade jade for himself, knowing it wasn't a permanent solution. Just as he was lost in thought, Taoist Shi's voice interrupted. "Can I come in, fellow Taoist Li?" Hanli welcomed him in, noticing the hesitation on Taoist Shi's face. "Is something troubling you, Brother Shi?" Hanli asked. Taoist Shi hesitated before speaking. "A name has been appearing in my mind, Scalpsha Spatial Domain." Hanli's expression grew curious. "What's that?" Taoist Shi shook his head. "I don't know, but it seems related to my former owner." Hanli's gaze sharpened. "A secret place? How does this concern your former master?"